The night the dishes washed themselves. Though she had been gone for several months, I still felt my wife's presence around me at all times. Perhaps I was imagining things. The loss of a loved one can be a weird effect on a person. Regardless of how much of a skeptic you were, you find yourself humoring thoughts you never would have considered before. You start seeing things everywhere, no matter how small. It happened to me after my wife died. I believe she came back to comfort me in my time of need. It started with little things, signs that could have easily been dismissed. I noticed static on the radio, misplaced objects, chairs not pushed in all the way. Some nights, I could even feel her crawling next to me in bed. These are all things that would make any sane person roll their eyes at you or give you a look of pity. Like they know your grief is causing you to see what you want to see. Part of me understood that, but at the same time, I wanted so badly for my wife to be haunting me. I didn't have any concrete proof. That is, not until the night the dishes washed themselves. My wife always hated doing the dishes. It was her least favorite chore. Most nights I was the one who took care of washing up, though I often left the dishes overnight to soak. From time to time, my wife would surprise me by taking care of the job before I got home. I'd walk into a squeaky clean counter and a little note with, "I love you," written in a large heart. The small gesture always brought a smile to my face, and I made extra sure to repay my wife in kind. One night, a few months after my wife passed, I walked through the front door. The house smelled like lime. "I'm home," I shouted. It's hard to break the habit. To this day, I still greet her when I come home. As expected, there was no reply. I made my way to the dining room to drop my things. That's when I spotted the dishes neatly stacked to their rightful places. There was a note on the counter with the same message my wife always left me. A flood of emotions washed over me. I was happy and sad at the same time. Holding the note to my face, I cried. There was no denying it now. My wife's spirit was watching over me. It had kept happening over the course of the next few weeks. Each time the note would become damp with my tears. It was so comforting to feel close to my wife again. One day, I had a nasty flu. I called in sick from work and took some cold medicine to help me rest. It knocked me straight out, and I spent most of my day passed out on my bed. By the time I awoke, I could hear clanging noises coming from the kitchen. My heart skipped a beat. I knew it had to be my wife's spirit. Still a little drowsy, I bounced out of bed and made a beeline for the kitchen, wondering if I would be able to talk to her. Wanted nothing more than to wrap my arms around her ethereal form and tell her how much I loved her. As I rounded the corner, I saw a solid figure in the kitchen. It wasn't my wife. Who the fuck? I started staring at the scene in shock. An old man with a thick gray beard and tattered clothes turned around me as I spoke. He yelped dropping the bowl in his hands. Before I could even react, he bolted towards the front door and escaped, leaving me frozen in shock. I approached the counter, only to find my wife's note waiting there for me. Heart and all, I had been him all along. The realization filled me with disgust, anger, and deep sorrow. It was like losing my wife all over again. I honestly thought she'd come back for me. I took so much comfort in knowing her spirit was with me. And that man had snuffed out all hope of reuniting with her. The very same day, I had the locks changed. Whoever the man was, I wanted to make sure he never get inside my home again. This evening, I came home to find a note on the counter and dishes clean and stacked. I don't know how he's getting in, but it's scaring the shit out of me. Especially since I'm over at my mom's house for the night.